I'm joined by Manish Chand, CEO, Center for Global India Insight. Manish is in. Manish will be joining me from Tel Aviv. He was there to cover the Prime Minister's trip, and I had worked with him when he was in Asian Age in 1998. That was a long time back, that's years ago. And he's in Israel. A lot of journalists, who had gone there. Some have come back. Some are there, sir. In Air India flight has been diverted back. I mean to say, this is going to, as Sudhakarji was talking about, this is going to have a massive effect on the pricing of air tickets. You have a Ukraine theatre on top, then you have an Iranian theatre at bottom. Imagine if people have to go to Europe, the longer routes which the airlines will have to take, it's going to have a huge commercial business impact. Imagine people, people will have to fly over Kazakhstan, or they will have to fly over Africa to go to Europe. I mean to say, this is going to take great toll, sir, on the business aspect. And let me just bring it two important things to the benefit of our viewers. One is Benjamin Netanyahu's statement. He says, brothers and sisters, citizens of Israel, just 1 hour ago, launched an operation to eliminate the existential threat posed by the terrorist regime in Iran. I thank our great friend President Donald Trump for his historic leadership. For 47 years, Ayatollah's regime has chanted death to Israel, death to America. It has spilled our blood, murdered many Americans, and massacred its own people. The murderous terrorist regime must not be allowed to arm itself with nuclear weapons that would enable it to threaten all humanity. Our joint action will create conditions for the brave Iranian people to take their destiny into their own hands. The time has come for all parts of the people in Iran, Persian, Kurds, Azeris, Baluchis, Khorsanis, to free themselves from the yoke of tyranny and bring about a free and peace-loving Iran. I call you, citizens of Israel, to follow instructions of the Home Front Command in coming days during Operation Lion's Roar. We will need patience and spiritual strength. Together we will stand firm. Together we will fight. Together we will ensure Israel's eternity. I think there's a bit of a technical issue. Then we'll go back to Manish. Professor Singh, it's completely clear that they are in here for a long haul, and they are actually targeting the leadership. It's very clear now. It's all documented. One has said it. In a TV broadcast, another one has tweeted it. It's all there. They're going after the Ayatollah. They're going after the Supreme Council. They're going after IRGC.
Indeed, that is perfectly clear. At this stage, two things are, as you're saying, very clear. One, that the focus right now is on regime change. And the fact that the initial strikes have not delivered, and the reports are that both the president and supreme leader are safe, means that if that is the target, then it has to be prolonged. Especially now, as your screen is showing us, Iran is launching counter attacks as well. And that means, in that sense, both sides are preparing to, get into a prolonged tit for tat kind of a situation here. And so focus on civilian leadership and this becoming a prolonged war is something which seems to be very certain right now. And whether other major powers are going to, make any statements as to where they stand on it is something that would also influence, other than the fact, as I mentioned, of President Trump's midterm elections and his visit to Beijing. What are the NATO partners of United States saying? What are they planning? How they look at this? Because they also have very, very strong stakes in the entire region here. France, for example, is a country that often shows a certain amount of variation or variance from American positions, has been taking lead of, taking initiatives away from United States in ensuring European security, engagement to Asian powers, and so on. German Chancellor was recently in Beijing again. So how do Germany, UK, or France respond to this likelihood of this becoming a prolonged war? And of course, you mentioned of oil prices, so going up, or likewise airfares going up. So it's not just going to be a kind of a situation only between the United States and Iran, or not only limited to the Middle East or West Asia, as the Iranians have been saying all this time. This is going to have reverberations on the global energy market, global airlines industry, and overall trade and investments and so on in that sense, which are already fairly in turmoil given the whole tariff war of President Trump for last 1 year now. So the fact that it's going to have such enormous and continuing and deep
Iranian
impact
airspace,
on
sir.
the how
Sir, this is the entire Iranian airspace, Professor Swing. Entire Iranian airspace has been closed. I mean, this is the shape of the aviation right now. Entire thing has been closed, sir.
I
Please
heard
go on.
I, I heard you saying that that airlines may have to fly now over Africa, and that kind of detour and refueling may be required, and that kind of disruption is global in that sense. It's not just limited to the region or United States or other powers that could have direct stakes in the region, but the whole world is going to be impacted. And if energy gets impacted, because we know that almost a quarter of gas, LNG, and almost 20% of world's oil goes through Strait of Hormuz, and that is going to disrupt oil and gas supplies, and energy disruption would catapult into raising cost of everything else, including transport around the world in that sense. So it's a fairly connected world now, and such a disruption immediately takes on a global shape. And how, in that sense, other countries see their stakes in situation developing in Iran right now is something which should make them take a call. We already have Prime Minister of Canada in India. He's going to be in New Delhi tomorrow. How did these two nations, which are kind of very symbolic of resurgence of middle powers, sort of developing strategies to reduce their dependence on either China or United States or even Russia. So how do these countries, whether this is going to be an issue on agenda on discussion between the two prime ministers on Monday, is something which is also interesting to see. How are these other countries that have great stakes in what is happening in Iran are going to respond, or are they going to simply talk in terms of proactive neutrality or balancing and dialogue and ceasefire, or is someone going to take the issues to UN Security Council? What happens there, despite we know that United States has a veto power, nothing serious is going to come out of it.
they have no, they have no teeth. Americans are calling this operation, sir, epic fury. So, Dhakaji, my question to you is, sir, that since there are two things, the NYT says, let it be a completely unmediated. It says major combat operations confirmed. So it's not singular, plural, major combat operations. That's the headline. So secondly, I think the only regime change which the Americans have done through air power has been Venezuela. Can they actually go in for a regime change in a country like Iran through air operation? I mean, your thoughts on it, sir?
My quick reflections, because Venezuela, Iran is not Venezuela.
Okay.
Look at the size of the armed forces. Look at the pattern of operation undertaken by the US armed forces. It is wrong to say that they did not have boots on ground. The CIA module had started getting penetrated or infiltrated into the ecosystem of Venezuela, if not longer, at least for 3 months prior to the main operation going in on 3rd of January, if I respect my memory. And they had started bribing the people, manipulating the thought process, hacking the minds of the people of Venezuelan president and his security apparatus in a systematic manner. The same thing to go on taking place in Iran, I find it very difficult, because Iran is a country, if you see roughly, again, if I respect my memory, the north-south and the west-east dimension, it is, if not double, it is at least 1.5 times larger than that of Venezuela. It has got a large armed force, almost of the size of almost 5 to 600,000. It has got a navy, a viable navy. It has got air force, may not be as potent as that of Israel and America, but it has got some. But where the strength of Iran lies is in the missile inventory. Different types of missile, cruise missile, ballistic missile, intercontinental ballistic missile is under trial now. They have got different types of, Shine variety of Fidaini attack or killer drones, loiter ammunition. Those kind of things are there. Plus, they have additionally the proxies. We talk about Hamas, Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hadil al Saib. There are a large number of militia groups. Iran itself, people may be saying that people have already come up with the arms onto the street. Well, if you start when the war, I tend to agree with Professor Sarwan when he said, when a conflict breaks out against the sovereignty of a country, territorial integrity of a country, these become very, very primary causes to stir that fire in the belly of every citizen of that country, galvanize them. Even Pakistan does the same trick. In order to put their country together when it is falling apart, they carry out some kind of a carnage in India or in Afghanistan just to hold the nation together. These are the dramatics that every nation does. So in a thing like this, Iran is going to get together, as per my assessment, the threat of enhanced or intensification of the unrest which is being suspected, it may not happen despite best efforts of the CIA and the Mossad module. One. Number two, the question which you are asking, the type of attack, when you say that the combat operations, you are underlining, you're looking at the plural. The plural of usage of this phraseology, it indicates to my mind is the extended duration of operation. They are prepared, they are hell-bent. They know that the supreme leader may not be eliminated in the first round. They know it for sure that may not be possibilities, may not be. They have not been able to penetrate into the ecosystem of security layers which the supreme leader is enjoying today. He has personally carried out the screening and interview, scrutinization of the antecedents of the people. IRGC is a highly motivated force which provides security to the supreme leader of Iran. So I don't think, as per my assessment, well, the Palestinian political leader may have been killed in Iran about a year and a half back, I think, by Israel forces, Mossad. But it is very difficult to get closer to the supreme leader, as per my assessment. Therefore, this combat operations, it may entail naval operations, air operations. When it comes to boots on ground, I doubt whether they will go.
Okay, let me play out a short bite of Benjamin Netanyahu, sir.
אחיי ואחיותיי, אזרחי ישראל, לפני שעה קלה יצאו ישראל וארצות הברית למערכה משותפת, מבצע שאגת הארי. מטרת המבצע, לשים קץ לאיום ממשטר האייתולות באיראן. בשעה זו תוקף צה"ל מטרות של משטר הדיכוי, מתקנים של משמרות המהפכה והבסיס, ויחד עם צבא ארצות הברית, אתרי טילים בליסטיים שמאיימים הן על ישראל והן על כוחות ארצות הברית. מבצע זה יימשך ככל הדרוש. במשך 47 שנים קרא משטר הרשע באיראן מוות לישראל, מוות לאמריקה. הוא רמס את אזרחי ארצו. הוא הטיל מורא על עמי האזור. הוא פרס רשת טרור מסועפת בעולם כולו.
Okay, sir, now we have been told that there has been action in Tel Aviv, sir. You know, missiles have reached major cities of Israel. This was a quick response, but the larger issue here is IRGC, Basij, and the pro-Iranian, I would say, or pro-regime population. A lot of people say it constitutes more than 20 to 25%, and you have been arguing on those lines. So why is America expecting some sort of a popular uprising in Iran? Why are they expecting a popular uprising?
Is that question meant to be?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Popular because the primary aim is to convert Middle East into an extended and enhanced Israel in due course of time. This is the hidden agenda, and gradually this two-nation theory that Iran has been propounding and supporting, trying to project and demand in the world order, may not see the light of the day. Anyway, let's not get digressed, but coming to the core issue, the popular regime that they are talking of is partially to some extent. Let's understand the demography. 70 to 78% people of Iran are in the urban areas. 20 to 28% are in the rural areas. Okay, the people who are in the rural areas, they are least influenced and affected by any kind of information warfare or influence operation. The people in the city or the urban centers, and they have been deprived of all kinds of media platforms, communication. TVs are not working, Wi-Fi is not there, internet is not functional. So they have been without the news for quite some time. For them, everything is normal. You would have seen some kind of a news interview yesterday by India Today over one of our Indian mainstream channel. People don't seem to be knowing that there is a war building up, there is a conflict building up. The rounds will fall anywhere close to in the proximity of their existence. So therefore, what I am coming to is that popular regime that you are talking of is basically bringing back democracy that was existing prior to 1979. The question that actually comes to my mind is, will that democracy stay? Will it sustain? Who will be the leader of that democracy? Why that popular regime is going to be driven by the son of Shah, who is sitting there, Reza, who is there in America now. Perhaps he would be coming. The popular regime is also going to be driven by the primary core requirement of USA, that the oil fields have to be unregulated, controlled by the American companies, be actually supply of oil to the international oil market will be so regulated that America continues to sell its shale gas oil.
These are the visuals, as I was telling you, Sudhakarji, these are the visuals of from Tel Aviv. Iron Dome in play. Iranian missiles are being intercepted. Multiple cities have been targeted. These visuals are from Iranian cities. This is from Tel Aviv. You can hear the sirens. Multiple Israeli cities have been attacked. The previous visual will show you. In this visual, it is very, very clear. And I am joined by someone who has served in Iran. I am joined by Ambassador Prabhu Dayal. Thank you so much, Sir Sudhakarji. You stay with me. Ambassador Dayal, we were talking about what will happen. Now, you must have gone through the statement of Benjamin Netanyahu and the 10-minute speech of Donald Trump. Both of them are, sir, talking about regime change. They're asking people to, organize themselves. My question to you is, sir, you have served in Iran. One, is there a possibility of clerics going out by force through an aerial operation? Second, what has prompted America to go in with Israel now?
Well, I've served not only in Iran but also in the United States. And I know the deep-seated hatred and hostility between these two sides. Now, things were already building up to a conflict. This entire drama of the talks to have some sort of a nuclear agreement, all that, this was a facade. This was only to get really prepared and ready to attack. And although yesterday, just after the talks concluded, the Omani foreign minister said that the Iranians are agreeing to not have any nuclear stockpiles and therefore the chances of peace are very good. What did President Trump say? President Trump said that he was not at all happy with what had happened. And he said the talks had not gone on well, indicating that he was contemplating the option of attacking Iran. Now, he has been talking of regime change all along. And he's very serious about it because not just Trump, but many, many people in the United States think that this regime is always going to be unfriendly to America. And despite the fact that the Iranians are suffering so much in terms of economic hardships,